Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to moderate this important and near to my heart session. Soft power was a subject and was because just giving you a background, I love history. I love following the news. I love being always updated. And something about this panel is very diversified. Even there is ladies, but we have here Her Highness Prince Sibnov bint Khalid. From Saudi Arabia, you have a Brazilian and you have from Ukraine. But all this panel actually have history and have knowledge of the region. They work on the region, and that's why they can add a lot of value. I don't take much time because there is a lot of information we can get. Software, actually, everybody was talking about software. Software is the ability of a country, a country or a nation to influence and reshape a global perception. Software uses so many tools, diplomat, sport, art and culture. There are many tools. But what we noticed recently, that soft power is overtaking the traditional form of power. It's actually winning over the traditional form of power, like the military, the economical myth. Soft power actually exists for years, for decades. It's not something new, but the term it was coined in recent years. One example is Germany. The High Court of Germany was using French for decade, using French language, dated back to Frederick the Great, because of at that time, the influence of French language. French at those days was the language of autocracy, was the language of art and culture, was the language for intellectual. Other good example of soft power is what's happening in World War II, after World War II, the Cold War. During the Cold War, there's no army fighting each other, but there was a lot of what you call soft power influence. One good example is the Olympic. Olympic in the Cold War was giving a high priority. One can say that during the Cold War, actually, West won, not because of their economy and military myth, won the war and dominated because of their soft power. In this session, of course, we will divide the topic from sport to diplomacy and to leadership. So I allow, as the previous session, I love what they did. So we let every panelist introduce themselves. Your Highness, start with.
Thank you very much for having me here today and being part of this exciting event happening in Saudi, and I welcome all here.
We cannot hear the voice. Can you hear it?
Yeah, okay. Just to introduce myself, I'm Nauf Al Saud, heading the marketing and international comms in Ministry of Sports. Worked on different events from 2018 until now, so happy to be here with you.
Thank you.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my name is Maria. I am Brazilian. I have a holding company called Taurus Legacy. And mainly what we do as a leadership and this stuff, because I'm vision coach for presidents of countries and head of family offices since my 16 years old. And I did this until last year with 42, so I'm done with that. So now we are starting to come as a practice way for people that are not in this position. Né? So we are doing a completely end-to-end things to come with the leadership programs to see how the leaders can take their position. Né? So the part of the leadership, it's really important. And my role is how to take this out from these people, so and make them become this big leader from inside. Né? So I'm very happy to be here and very honored. Thank you very much. We keep going later.
Stasia?
Salam, rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me here. It's a great honor, and I believe Saleh is in a great company, beautiful company today. So I'm also a Harvard alum. I studied psychology, and I spent about 11 years in Washington, D.C., where I was working with the ambassador of Oman, actually the first female Arab ambassador to the U.S. So soft power is not just a term to me, but I lived through it. I was there in the White House during the signing of Abrahamic Accords and behind the scenes of the first Netanyahu visit to Oman. So it was very insightful and very interesting time in my life. And currently I reside in Dubai, where for the past 8 years, I run a soft skills training company, actually. So we do a lot of cross-cultural communication because I myself am multilingual. I speak 6 languages, including Arabic. And I'm very honored to be here once again and hopefully to contribute to this bright and beautiful panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My, my first question will start with the Prince Nov. Saudi Arabia has taken over the world. It's making headline every day, really, from football, Formula One, horse racing, golf, boxing, wrestling, and many more. And every time the question is there. And the question, there is a lot of investment, we know, huge amount of investment, not only investment, commitment, effort, not only from the leadership, but from also the society. So biggest question, why Saudi Arabia investing that much in sport?
As you said, the question's always there, and everyone's asking this question with a lot of, like speculations on what's happening and why all this amount of investment is happening. So, as everyone knows, as you mentioned, we started from 2018 with the first Formula E event that happened. It was the first mega international event that happened. Until today, we hosted more than 85 mega sporting events throughout the years. When we talk about sports and soft power, and specific about hosting like these events, as much as we get the negativity and what we hear from like international media on Saudi hosting these sports, we really emphasize on the soft power of people understanding what's behind these events. Why are we investing in sports? When we started the events, we hosted all these events and had more than 2.5 million of guests and attendees and fans coming to Saudi Arabia and attending these events and knowing more about it. So we're opening up to the world. We're making people know more about Saudi. Whenever international media maybe talk negatively about Saudi and not knowing what's happening here, whenever they come, they can see what's actually happening. Because these events affect more than one aspect, in the lives of people. So we see it in the participation. One of the things that we saw is like when we hosted the first boxing event in 2019.
Yes.
After this event, we saw a significant rise in like the participation of people in boxing. So we saw 300% growth in the participation in this sport. These kinds of numbers are what we're working for, what we want to have in Saudi. Saudis love sports and people in Saudi. When we open up, as we're speaking now, we have a Saudi cycling team, the Saudi national team in Al Ula competing with hundreds of other very talented, high-level sporting cyclists in Al Ula tour that's happening as we're speaking now. This kind of, for them to be part of it, to get inspired and work is what we're working for. Other than the investments that our people are talking about, like the acquisition of top talents, players, SPL, and other than that, that everyone's talking about now. We're so proud of having it because the numbers as well we're seeing, the increase in attendance in the stadiums. We had an increase of 25%. The broadcasting in Saudi, for the league, we had 2 broadcasting channels, and now we have more than 48 channels broadcasting the league, which the investment and people wanting to sponsor and the increase of like them being interested in sponsoring the SPL as well has significantly grown. So what the main thing we're doing is to open up and make people come and see what's happening in Saudi, see the Saudi people. We're a big nation with like under the age of 30. It's the majority of the people in Saudi Arabia. inspiring the youth is our main thing and what we're seeing and what we're working on and hosting these events and investing in sports.
Thank you very much, Your Highness. There is another question, but it's important to follow up on it. Anastasia, you have significant experience in diplomacy and international relations. And we are talking about here soft power. So what do you think soft power has played using diplomacy, in terms of diplomacy, and recognizing the region, and uplifting the region, and for the international market to think of the GCC as their way to make business?
That's a great question. Thank you. As somebody who conducts a lot of communication trainings, I always say that soft power is just another technique of essentially storytelling. So it's a country that's telling you a story about itself, their values, their authority, their creative side, their cultural side, and your ability to tell this story and whether or not the listener is going to listen till the end is what makes the soft power successful. Currently, I believe, just out of curiosity, you can go and Google the soft power index. Saudi Arabia, for the past 3 years, has continuously been risen in its ranking of soft power itself. And I was present in Washington, D.C. during the historic MBS's visit, where everybody, when he first came to power as a crown prince, where not a lot of people knew what to expect off of him, but there was a lot of cultural push in him visiting the capital. They brought a lot of Saudi artists. They brought a lot of Saudi, traditional weaving techniques and women who were just sitting in a museum and weaving, and just to showcase the culture and traditions. So there was a lot of emphasis indeed on the softer side of things, if you will. And one of the great examples of the Saudi soft power, of course, is the women empowerment. And sadly, the world only knows about Princess Rima's appointment to Washington, D.C., which sparked that conversation about women now being in leadership position in the kingdom. However, that's just one well-known example. I know tons of examples, if not hundreds of examples, where women are in leadership and potential leadership roles all across the kingdom, where women bring in their own perspective. They do have a seat at the table, and their perspective is listened to and cared for. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't believe me, but I truly feel, as a woman being taken care of more in the Middle East than I did when I was living in the U.S. So that's also just another indicator of soft power, because soft power is almost equivalent to culture, and Saudis are very hospitable. They're very open, and once again, the role the soft power played in its diplomacy has been significant for the kingdom, because the kingdom right now is reshaping their own narrative, and they're truly becoming not just a regional player, they are a global player. And we can see that by hopefully kingdom joining the BRICS nations very soon. So that's a significant step in the global arena, showcasing the West, that we're not somebody just with a $1 trillion economy. We're somebody who has a voice, and we're ready to use it in our own view. So I think that that's a big change that was long time coming, but it's a very accelerated change as well, and I believe we're going to touch upon it later on during the panel. But definitely, soft power is a tool used by global diplomacy, toolkit, and Saudi truly is mastering it.
We'll talk about the changing narrative and
Yes.
the other question. Maria, you are a coach leader. Your task, your job is to prepare leader for the future. From your opinion, how can young leaders, young leadership use software to achieve their strategy, to achieve their goals, whether it's for corporation or for their countries?
Well, who know me personally know that normally I'm very different in the approach for the leadership. Because when we go to train a leader, and principal when he's young, let's say from a family office, or he born son of a king, that's it. So you don't choose that. He born like this, and he need to take this role after, or the family office, same. The family office have that legacy and that huge company. Maybe he don't want to keep going. This is not his heart. So when you go for leadership for these young generations, mainly you need to understand how, first of all, put them together, the tradition, the ancestry, and he need to understand why he born in this family. Why? What he really are here to do. He is the right person to be there. If not, have a reason for him to born in that family and have a reason for him to change and get that task. So we can't train a young leader without make him dive in what he need to become. Né? And most of the people when I train, they are not the one for that position yet. So we need him very fast, make him be ready. So how we do that? We make them go very deep into the experience, and not in the experience from his field, in the experience for the others, because he need to learn about empathy. He need to learn how to take decision really fast, and it's a decision that you take one, it will impact 1 year of a society. It will impact 10 years, a big change. So he needs to understand the reason why he's here. He needs to understand what he needs to do to accomplish his legacy, his dream, his reason to be in this place. To the company to the country from other countries, and then you can go in a global way. So in the GCC region, when you go to empower young leaders, it's really amazing because it's a tribe culture. Né? And the tribes, you are following a leader. It's natural. We are having this discussion today. So if you need to change tomorrow because no water, let's change it. If you need to be now different task, let's do it. So I believe the GCC with the young leaders play a really strong position because the world changed completely with the new way of finance. I used to have two finance broker, banks, anyway, my long story, but everything changed. So the young leaders today play a huge role because they are learning already with the new. Né? And they have the roots from the ancestry and tradition to respect why the people are here. And this is what I really love in this country, the tradition, the soft power, how Saudi is moving, focusing this way, help a lot the young leaders to take their place because it's based on what they already know. Né?
I love the term learning with the new, not with the traditional
Exactly,
way.
yeah.
Going back to Prince Nof, again, the same thing. It's about investment. There is an investment, of course, a significant amount of investment. What the key investment and what the social impact of these investments?
Sure, yeah.
In sport, of course.
Yeah, the social impact of these investments are huge. One of the main things that we saw and we got from this investments in sports is the participation in sports. So in 2015, we had 13% of people participating in sports. Thankfully, in 2022, we exceeded 48% of people participating in sports, in different sports and community sporting, and having a healthy life. That showcases the importance of sports and how these investments and awareness and raising awareness on sports is affecting the daily lives of people in Saudi. Other than that is beyond the participation is the daily lives. So whenever you have these kinds of events happening, the job opportunities that are there for the people, we're capitalizing on the human capital and the financial capital as well. When we see the federations increasing 200%, when we had 30 federations and now we're more than 90 federations and the Olympic Committee. So these open up a lot of opportunities alongside the school leagues that we're having, or like different sporting events that's happening. So the opportunities are increasing as well. Nevertheless, the quality of life is something that we're really working on. That's in alignment with the vision 2030. The quality of life of people, and for them being able to attend and to participate in sports and doing the sports they want, and like an environment that helps them with the support of the whole sporting ecosystem that's working on the sport and making it a better place for people to work and getting the best out of it.
Another important question is women participation, because it's come through. This question, and everybody will ask. We saw an increase of women participation, but how is it now? Where is going? We saw the trend, but you know better.
Yeah, women now are leading the way, in sports and different, not only in sports, as we're seeing in Saudi Arabia, and how they're working in the sporting ecosystem. So we see like 30% of women are leading governmental positions and sports, or like very important positions in sports for different in the sporting ecosystem. Other than that is the participation. So we saw like 150% increase in participation of women specifically from 2018 to 2022, which is a significant number. And we're working on like increasing the number. And I'm sure with the support that we're getting from the government, from everyone, around, and how things are shifting in Saudi, it's the same that you get for a man and a woman here, and not only in sports, in all sectors, that's happening, and we're seeing it happening. It's now a mandate in all federations to have at least one woman in all as a board member. It's a mandate to have, as well as we have 6 federations led by women. We are all proud of the Saudi national team, the female Saudi national team that was created a couple of years ago and now is officially ranked in FIFA. Different sports, and seeing the Saudi females participating in different Olympic games and different Asian games, and winning some medals and being there. So the shift and the transformation we're seeing is amazing, and I'm sure it's the support of the government in Saudi, and all sectors are seeing these achievements and working on increasing the numbers and supporting women in sport.
Thank you very much for the insight. Nastasia, again, there is a changing narrative. Everybody, we know that there is external and there is internal. A lot of changes happening, and the community is going along with this change. What the role do you think it's soft power plays in attracting more segment of the society to what's happening by using soft power? There is always you can change, you can implement change by regulation, by law, by enforcement, but you need to take the people with you on this journey. You are not going to just by issuing a degrees as regulation. What do you think the soft power play in changing narrative? Let people behind and follow behind the change, embrace the change.
I believe that it's actually the other way around. It's the kingdom internally. They don't need to convince the public, the general public, that the narrative needs to be changed. I believe it was the other way around. It's the internal dynamics of the society that has pushed perhaps even the current leadership, I believe it's my own opinion, right, in a direction of changing the external perspective. And at one point, Saudi, just like pretty much all the GCC countries who had been using consultants up until recently to help them navigate the system, if you will, the ecosystem, are no longer just using them to help them, but telling them that they're just willing to get the tools and then they can help themselves, if you will, because the narrative has changed, and it's in the hands of the storyteller, like I said right now. So I have a lot of Saudi and Emirati friends, for example, who are telling me right now, it's as if we just realized recently that our own story needs to be told in our own voice and not in foreign newspapers or foreign channels. It needs to be done in English because English is still the most commonly spoken language, right, in the world. But it needs to be done by us, meaning the nationals of those countries, of Saudi Arabia in particular, and using the tools that they see fit the mission. And the mission is for the external world, for the outside world, to know how rich Saudi culture is, how hospitable people are, that they're ready to embrace the change. And they no longer want the West to just tell them what needs to be done. They want, the societies to be either cooperating or everybody just, taking the advantages from one another, if you will, and excuse my slangs, and everybody staying in their lane in that sense that, everybody as in terms of the internal dynamics, know what is best for their social fabric. But in terms of the narrative changing internally, we have to understand that Saudi is, like Maria mentioned, is a tribal society, but they're nomads. And there is a lot of mixed marriages that are dated back to 50, 60 years ago, which is a result of now a lot of not a lot, but there is a wider percent of population who might even have blue or green eyes and still be Saudis. Like if you meet them in the U.S., you would never know that they're from the Gulf, for example. But they're part of this society, right? And unlike I don't know people from Kuwait or UAE, that's a completely different social fabric. Yes, still tribal society, but Saudi is so big that when we talk about east, west, north, and south, it's totally different dynamics and totally different perspectives of what all of these people would want internally. But I know for a fact that whether it's a businessman who wears Brunello Cucinelli suit and goes to lunch at Koft, or it's somebody who trades camels, they both want the kingdom to succeed.
Thank you. Maria, we talk about leadership, training, coaching leadership. What about females?
For what?
What about female coaching female leadership?
Well,
Every time we talk
here
about
we have
leadership,
one,
we talk about leadership and coaching
Yes.
and be ready to use the soft power for their goals, but we always talk about men. What about women?
Yes, I think anyhow, she's a great example. She's young, né? As a sheikha, she born like this, and she's taking a position. For sure, if you talk to her personally, I didn't talk with you about it, but I'm 100% sure when get this position to you, you think about it. I'm ready. This is good for me. I'm ready for this or no. What I need to have. How other people will talk. What do you think? And while you are doing, without even be ready, because you didn't make this before, you be ready on the way. And when you have the soft power in your favor, because see, I think this is very important for us to talk about the women in a soft power manner. The soft power, if you compare with, I was talking to you about that the hard power and soft power, it can be even more strong than a hard power itself, because if you use the empathy and you use the persuasion to make people change their opinion in using the love and what they like to do, because this is mainly what very important, the soft power, in a wrong direction because you have bad intention, it's really complicated. But if you go for a good intention, that for sure is her case. Now your family want to support you, your country want to support you. Everybody want to see you shine in what you do. And I'm sure you are doing extremely well listening to you talking today. So the point is that when you are bringing in a soft power, the ladies play a very strong role because they know by nature how to be mother. They know, they born with this. When the baby comes, you need to handle that, and the husband and the family. So by nature, this empathy and this way how to handle multiple things in the same time, you're born with this. So the soft power using with this energy of true love, not love because I love the country. No, really. So when you connect this with the position for the young leaders and female, remembering them that this is like her baby, this is like her new family, this is her new project, for sure they will succeed. Because it's not matter about the power, no. It's not the matter about the money, also no. It's matter about self-realization, using a nation to empower what you already know that you need to do. This is a completely game change, you know? So this is, I think, it's my point of view with this, uh, become this woman with this empowerment and bring this to everybody in a sweet way, how everybody can get the benefit, like this motherhood and things, you know?
Thank you, Maria. Actually, as everybody was talking to me before the session, we need to give time for a question.
Yeah.
I think the topic is wide, but it's very interesting. So instead, I would like to give time, since we have around 9 minutes. So we give time to
Yeah.
somebody who wants to ask question.
Actually, there's a gentleman, yes, over here, second row to the right.
There, yes.
And since we have a lot of students in attendance, maybe some of the students would love to ask questions. Please don't be shy.
Thank you, the distinguished panelists, for a very enlightening and very enriching and rewarding observations.
What is it?
My name is Walid Al-Somali. I'm an advisor at the Ministry of Investment. Before that, I spent 41 years working for the Saudi Arabian oil company, Saudi Aramco.
MashaAllah, 41 years.
41 years. 6 months and 5 days. So I have just one comment to share with Maria and a question. I'll start with a comment, and this is something close to me. I was involved in human capital development in Aramco for quite some time. And on top of what you said about future talent, I would say two important things that distinguishes talent, at least in the oil and gas industry, which is, first of all, showing passion and excitement about whatever the task is. And that's what made Aramco one of the biggest and greatest oil companies in the world. And simple things like emotional intelligence, social intelligence, play a significant role in shaping the personality and the mindset and the creativity of young talent. And on top of that is the maintaining a philosophy of lifelong learning. And it's extremely essential.
Yes.
Learning doesn't stop at an age or a credential. It's a philosophy that needs to be adopted and taken seriously. So I thought just to share this with you. The question I have for the panel, since the subject is the creative economy. The creative economy, based on the UNCTAD recent report, constitutes around $985 billion. This is a sounding figure when it comes to creative and the impact, the financial impact of creative economy globally. What is the percentage of the GCC countries from this 985 billion investment in creative economy? How much we at GCC are contributing into this global economy, if there are any statistics or numbers? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I can go, if I may. Yeah. Thank you, first of all, for the comment. Yeah. So just to reiterate, basically, it's the soft skills that do matter a bit more than the hard skills now, and this is goes hand in hand with what we've been discussing here at the panel today. But in terms of the creative economy statistics, I do not have the numbers on top of my head when it comes to the GCC, but I can let you in on a secret that there's going to be a creative economy conference happening in March, actually, for the very first time in the kingdom. Mandated, yeah, by including one of your ministers is actually going to be in attendance. And they're just focusing on creative economy. So they're focusing on influencers, they're focusing on small business owners, mainly women, of course, who are into fashion and beauty and business that before was not even spoken about in the GCC. Dubai for, I believe, 2 or 3 consecutive years has done also a creative economy global summit. It's called 1 Billion Summit. It takes place every January, where they only talk about creative economy. Surely it's not as big as those similar events in the US, just because, you know, the power of social media has been present in the US, I believe, for a bit longer. But not only that, but because US is such an, you know, has different social dynamic, if you will, people have taken advantage of it earlier than people in this region. But I personally know a lot of females who have established their businesses via even social media channels, and now they don't depend on anybody. They're, you know, very independent, high powered, if you will, women who started from something small and grew their businesses to something pretty big. Like one of them is has even been represented by the Harrods in London. So, you know, that just goes to tell you that the creative economy is something that the government of Saudi is paying attention to and taking very seriously starting this year, I believe. Yeah.
And just a comment for you. I really appreciate your comment. And I think it's really important when you say about emotional intelligence, when you are supporting any leader, don't mean even young, old, doesn't matter, senior, whatever. Always you need to structure, like if you have a formula for that. Number one, you need to make a full breakdown. Who are you? Based on the psychoanalysis, and we analyze everything on that. After that, you need to understand what is your good skills. What you are not good doesn't matter because you improve. So I don't care about that. We care about what you are really good, because what you are good, you help. What you are not good, someone will help you. That's it. Keep going. So after you do that, you come for why you are here, the purpose, your life, and what you are really doing in the position. After, with what we do, we call first vision. You make an artwork with the eyes closed, and this will pop up for you, and then you analyze why this come to you. And then you understand your inconscious part, bring conscience, and then you have the full understanding about who you are. You can do what you just spoke. To get emotional intelligence, it's awesome. But who I am, what I need to change, and what I'm good at, and where I'm going. So when you know this, the emotional intelligence start a completely second step. You have this clear, you have your life business plan in an artwork, let's say, in your meditation, imagination, doesn't matter. And then we do something that we call a centennial plan. It's a plan every cycle of 7 years, and you have the noennial plan that is 99 years. In countries, companies, this kind of thing is when you match with the 5 years development and 10 years development of a country. You in Aramco position, you know about these centennial things and noennial things and so on. Every high position and strategic position in governments that are thinking about 100 years ahead, 50 years ahead, this is there. And why not 5 and 10? It's because you need these 2 and these other 3 and the cycles of the life that we have, 7 years, 14, 21, 28, 35 years old. So when you go through that and you get your centennial stuff, you can prepare yourself, you can put in a position that you build the emotional intelligence that you need for that period of life. A woman, as a mother, it's one phase of the life. When she don't have the baby, another phase. When she married, another phase. It's different emotional intelligence. And for the men, the same. We are talking a lot about woman, lady. Okay, have a man there next to it, and how these men also deal with these women that change, and how they can support each other and learn a new phase of the life, like a mature way, how to support this growth using the soft power. It's super important. Every family have that. So with them, this part of the emotional intelligence, when she have clear the position of the person, I mean, in these 7 years, and every cycle, it's awesome because you can prepare yourself and you not be that painful. Yes, the pain is there, but why you always need to be painful to grow? No need. If you have skills that you are afraid, I'm sorry that I'm taking
Because there's another question.
Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, it's okay then. Anyhow, it's more about this position. Sorry.
There's another question you can take.
God,
No,
okay.
one
Last one.
Let's take one last question from the lady over there in the back, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for such an impressive panel and distinguished panelists. And I think we were critical on Neil. We say 25% female ratio. Salah, you're doing amazing. It's 100% female.
He's
Appreciate
overachiever.
yourself. And since we are in all-women university, I don't have a question myself. You've answered most of my questions. But I would love to hear from the audience,
Yes.
from the students of Princess Noor University.
Yes, there's a
if
lady
they have
behind.
questions.
Yes, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.
My question for Princess Nov. What's your expectations for the future of sport marketing, especially for Saudi female marketers? And as a marketing student, interested in that field especially, I'll be grateful if you give me and give my colleagues an advice will help us in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. It's an interesting point to talk about since we all, I've always been in marketing and I studied marketing and graduated from marketing. But when you work in the sports field, it's a different aspect of marketing. And which is new, one of the main things of like answering why are we hosting these events, why are we having these investment in sports, whenever you get with, like these events, getting here, knowing more about these sports and how to market sports, it's a different aspect of your normal marketing. You're not marketing, one thing or like a place or like merchandise. It's the ecosystem of marketing in sports has different techniques in it. It's very interesting to know and understand and get into, like it's about marketing events and selling tickets if we want to talk about it and how to have it all packaged up and available for people to be part of. Other than that, is promoting and raising awareness on sports and making people more aware of sports and what's the benefit behind it. So marketing in sports is definitely something very interesting and very specific, and it would be great to understand more and get into it, and the opportunities and the future is huge with all the sporting events happening, all the raise of the events happening and all the ecosystem of sport. There's a huge future in it.
Thank you. Thank you, Prisno. Is there any other question before we conclude?
Yes, of course. Let's take one more from the ladies and the students. I can see some hands up. Yes, please. The mic will, yeah, it's right next to you.
Hi, I would like to ask Maria if she would like to give us advice to the young leaders. Thank you.
Okay, I will do better. I can give to Salah my contacts. We can make, it's my big pleasure. We can make like a Zoom with as much students you want to bring it, friend, father, mother, dog, doesn't matter, everyone you can put there and I can make for you. Okay, you give to her. Welcome everyone, and because see, listen, to make it short, I don't know even anyhow. It's a need. The people need to start to go out from the sofa, go to the ground, go to live what you study. Because most of the people go to study, they go out, my diploma, I'm superhero in this topic and I'm amazing and all, and he create things and solutions, but he don't live the experience. So he's creating solutions for his reality. And when you are talking about a nation, humankind, development, when you are talking about a society, you need to understand the culture. I can't come here in this stage with my boobs like this and that, put my shoes for everyone, and sit like a Brazilian. No, Brazilian also not that. This is culture. Go to Brazil, I will show you my culture. I want to come to Saudi, I need to come and see Saudi. So I'm leaving the event today, I'm getting my backpack, I'm taking the train, and I go to travel all Saudi Arabia by train, and I call my friends that I know from here, and I live in their home for one day, I camp, I go to the Oasis, I go everywhere. Yes, I come into Harvard Business School event, Crossroads, awesome event. But what's the value of the education? What is the value of institutions and also for the university and all what we are having here? Is what's happened here today. Is the human interaction, is the energy that is flowing around. So as a good advice, as a general, based on so many things I saw, because I'm into that since my 9 years old in many things, is you should know where your busula is going and find your tribe on the way and learn and teach all the time. Never stop to learn and never stop to teach what you learn, because this is our big God gift. Is for you to be yourself, be genuine, learn the theory, but apply the experience. And after come back to improve the theory. So this is my advice for your question. But again, I'm more than welcome to do the Zoom and to help anyone that want to go through this path of self-awareness and bring a big change that we want to see in the end of the day. Need to start from us. So that's my point. Thank you so much.
Okay, this will be the last question before our lunch break. So one more because we have a lot. Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, assalamu alaikum. My question is directed to all of you, and I want to ask, what is one thing you would say to the young women and men of this generation and the generation before that have hopes and dreams of building their own businesses but don't have the degrees or qualifications as well as their family's supports?
I will tell them to Google notarial knowledge. I'm done, I'm not talking more. Yeah.
I would say to both communication, learn communication skills, honestly. And for men, especially of this generation, I believe emotional intelligence, because men are brought up and they're raised to have hard skills, right? They need to be the breadwinners, especially in this region. But it's emotional intelligence that takes you further in your career. And it doesn't really matter in many cases right now if you're educated, if you have a degree or not, if you have an idea and you're persistent. So, it's 80-20 rule. You need to be hard worker and you need to communicate with everybody. Never leave any doors, not knocked on. So knock on any door and make as many mistakes as you can while you're young. So when you're in your 30s or 40s, you'll build on experience. So that would be my advice.
And I would just add to what you all said, it's the opportunity is always there, but even in sports, when you are like pursuing any kind of sports, either in business or like and participation, education always takes you to higher levels and supports everything you're doing and always has more into it and for the future of everyone. So it's always the passion and education that makes you reach more. So yeah.
Actually, one last thing, if you don't mind, I would like to second Maria's offer and also offer to maybe do even a joint Zoom if it's going to be helpful to anybody in terms of the communication skills. So yeah, please come find us. We'll be more than happy.
Thank you very much. That was quite inspirational. One of the